What if I told you, history has lied to you? The greatest general of all time isn't the one you think. He didn't rule an empire, he didn't command millions, yet he never lost a single battle. History glorifies Napoleon, Alexander, and Genghis Khan, but are they truly the greatest? Or have we overlooked the real master of war? Today, we rank the 10 most unstoppable military minds in history, and trust me, some of these choices will spark outrage. You might even disagree with number 1. But stay until the end, because when you see who takes the top spot, it'll change how you see history forever. And if you think we got it wrong, drop your pick in the comments. Let's settle this debate once and for all. Number 10. Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox. A general so feared that his enemies studied his every move. A man who rewrote the rules of modern warfare. But was he truly great, or just overhyped? Few generals in history have earned the respect of both allies and enemies like Erwin Rommel. Known as the Desert Fox, Rommel led Nazi Germany's forces in North Africa during World War II, where his lightning-fast tactics and brilliant deception strategies humiliated the British and nearly crushed the Allies. His greatest triumph? The Battle of Gazala, 1942. Outnumbered, Rommel used masterful feints and swift armor movements to encircle and destroy the British Eighth Army, one of the most impressive tactical victories in modern history. Even Churchill himself called Rommel a magnificent military leader. But was Rommel truly one of history's greatest? While he was a tactical genius, he never commanded a truly massive force like Napoleon or Genghis Khan. Some even argue that his impact was limited, his successes short-lived, and ultimately, he lost the war. Number 9. Frederick the Great, the Prussian genius. Imagine taking a weak kingdom and turning it into a European superpower through sheer military brilliance. That's exactly what Frederick the Great did. But was he truly one of the greatest, or just lucky? Before Frederick II, Prussia was barely a blip on the European map. But through a series of bold, almost reckless wars, he transformed it into a military powerhouse. His secret? Speed, deception, and the ability to win against overwhelming odds. His defining moment? The Battle of Leuthen, 1757. Outnumbered nearly 2-1 by the Austrians, Frederick pulled off one of the most brilliant flanking maneuvers in history, crushing an army that should have easily overwhelmed him. But here's the controversy. Frederick won many battles, but did he ever face truly elite generals like Napoleon or Genghis Khan? Some argue that he was more of a great tactician than a world-changing strategist. His wars made Prussia powerful, but did they change history like Alexander's or Caesar's campaigns? Number 8. Yi Sun Sin, the admiral who couldn't lose. Imagine being outnumbered 10-1, and still emerging victorious. Repeatedly, Yi Sun Sin wasn't just a great general, he was an unsinkable force of nature. But should a naval commander even be on this list? Yi Sun Sin is a legend in Korea, but almost unknown to the West, which makes his story even crazier. With a fleet far smaller than Japan's, he never lost a single battle during the Japanese invasions of Korea, 1592-1598. His tactics were so good that even outnumbered 10-1, he would crush the enemy. His greatest battle? Myeongnyang, 1597. With just 13 ships, Yi defeated a fleet of 133 Japanese warships. That's a naval miracle. But here's the controversy. Yi Sun Sin's impact was regional. His victories saved Korea, but did they change the world? Should a naval commander even be on a list of the greatest generals? Number 7. Julius Caesar, the general who ended a republic. Some generals win wars, others change the course of history forever. Julius Caesar did both, but was he truly a great military genius, or just a ruthless politician with good timing? Before Caesar, Rome was a republic ruled by the Senate. After him, it was on the path to becoming an empire. His military campaigns, especially the Gallic Wars, showcased his tactical brilliance. With fewer troops than his enemies, he used psychological warfare, rapid marches, and daring river crossings to subdue all of Gaul, modern-day France. His most famous moment? Crossing the Rubicon, 49 BC. By marching his army into Rome, something strictly forbidden, he He sparked a civil war that made him the most powerful man in the world. He defeated Pompey, his greatest rival, and cemented his place in history. But here's the controversy. Was Caesar a better general or a better politician? Some say he relied more on charisma and political maneuvering than pure battlefield strategy. Number 6. Hannibal Barca, Rome's worst nightmare. How do you defeat the most powerful empire in the world? If you're Hannibal, you do the impossible. March an entire army, complete with war elephants over the Alps. But was he truly one of the greatest, if he ultimately lost? Hannibal's invasion of Italy during the Second Punic War is legendary. His greatest moment? The Battle of Cannae, 216 BC. Outnumbered by nearly double, Hannibal trapped and annihilated a Roman army of 80,000 men, one of the deadliest battles in history. His tactics are still studied in military academies today. But here's the problem. Despite his genius, Hannibal lost the war. After 15 years of victories, he was ultimately defeated when Rome invaded Carthage. Some argue that a truly great general should not only win battles, but wars. Does Hannibal's tactical brilliance outweigh his final defeat? Or does losing the war mean he doesn't belong in the top ranks? Number 5. Subutai, the ghost on the battlefield. One general conquered more territory than Napoleon, outsmarted every enemy he faced, and struck terror into the heart of Europe. Yet most people don't even know his name. That man was Subutai, Genghis Khan's most fearsome strategist. Unlike other generals who commanded armies of their own nation, Subutai was not a king, not an emperor, just a warrior who mastered the art of war. His campaigns stretched from China to Russia to Europe, using lightning-fast mobility, feigned retreats, and brutal precision to annihilate superior forces. His most devastating victory? The battles of Legnica and Mohi. In a coordinated strike, Subutai's forces crushed both European and Hungarian armies within days of each other, proving the Mongols were an unstoppable force. But here's the debate. Was Subutai's success his own, or did he just execute Genghis Khan's master plan? Unlike Napoleon or Hannibal, he didn't lead an empire. He was a commander in service of others. Number 4. Alexander the Great, the man who conquered the world, but couldn't keep it. At just 20 years old, he took control of an empire. By 30, he had conquered the known world. But does Alexander the Great truly deserve his legendary status, or was he just lucky to inherit a powerful army? Alexander's military genius was undeniable. He never lost a battle, leading his troops across Persia, Egypt, and India with unmatched strategy and daring. His army, vastly outnumbered in most battles, crushed opponents using speed, deception, and devastating cavalry charges. His most famous victory? The Battle of Gaugamela, 331 BC. Facing a Persian army that outnumbered him nearly 5-1, Alexander used a fake retreat maneuver to break through enemy lines, defeating King Darius III and taking control of Persia. But here's the controversy. Did Alexander build his empire, or just expand what his father had already created? Some argue that Philip II of Macedon, his father, laid the groundwork for his success. And despite all his conquests, his empire collapsed immediately after his death. Unlike Genghis Khan or Napoleon, Alexander didn't leave behind a lasting system of rule. So, was Alexander truly the greatest general, or just the most ambitious conqueror? Now we're getting to the big leagues. The top 3 generals on this list aren't just legends. They're the ones who reshaped history in ways that still echo today. But what sets them apart? Was it sheer tactical genius? Unstoppable ambition? Or something more? Something that changed the very rules of warfare? Stick around, because the next few names will challenge everything you think you know about military greatness. Number 3. Napoleon Bonaparte, the man who rewrote warfare. No general has dominated Europe like Napoleon. A man who went from a poor Corsican nobody to the Emperor of France. But was he a true military genius, or just another dictator with a big ego? Napoleon revolutionized warfare with his lightning-fast maneuvering, artillery superiority, and ability to outthink entire coalitions. From 1796 to 1815, he defeated almost every European power: Austria, Prussia, Russia, Britain, often against overwhelming odds. His masterpiece? The Battle of Austerlitz, 1805. Outnumbered, Napoleon baited the enemy into thinking he was weak, then executed a devastating counterattack that crushed Austria and Russia in a single stroke. But there's one major flaw in his legacy: he lost. Despite years of brilliance, he made one fatal mistake, invading Russia in 1812. His army was destroyed by the harsh winter and Russian tactics, leading to his downfall. So, is Napoleon truly one of history's greatest generals? Or does his eventual defeat prove that even the best can fall? Number 2. Genghis Khan, the man who built the largest empire in history. He was born in the harshest conditions, abandoned as a child, and betrayed by his own people. And yet, Genghis Khan would go on to create the largest empire the world has ever seen. But was he truly a military genius, or just a ruthless conqueror? Genghis Khan didn't just win battles, he changed warfare itself. His armies used superior mobility, psychological warfare, and brutal efficiency to crush civilizations from China to Eastern Europe. He turned the Mongols, once a scattered group of tribes, into an unstoppable war machine. His most terrifying victory? The Siege of Nishapur, 1221. After the Mongols took the city, an act of betrayal led them to massacre nearly 1.7 million people. This psychological terror tactic made entire cities surrender without a fight. But here's the controversy: was Genghis Khan a great general, or just an overwhelming force? Genghis Khan often faced weaker, divided enemies. Some argue that his success came more from brutality than tactical brilliance. So, was Genghis Khan truly a master strategist, or just the most feared warlord in history? Number 1. Khalid ibn al-Walid, the undefeated sword of God. Every great general has tasted defeat. Every empire has fallen. Every commander, except one. One man, undefeated in over 100 battles. A warrior so feared that entire cities surrendered at the mere mention of his name. And yet, history barely remembers him. His name? Khalid ibn al-Walid. His enemies called him the Sword of God. Unlike Alexander or Napoleon, Khalid wasn't born into power, he earned it through sheer genius. His strategies crushed larger armies, rewrote warfare, and shattered empires. His greatest triumph? The Battle of Yarmouk, 636 AD. The Byzantine Empire sent 200,000 troops to destroy the Muslims. Khalid had just 30,000. Yet, through speed, deception, and psychological warfare, he annihilated them. The Byzantines didn't just lose, they were utterly humiliated. And that was just one victory. Khalid was the nightmare of the Persian Empire, the architect of conquests that built an empire lasting over 1,000 years. So why is his name barely mentioned? Was it because he didn't write memoirs like Caesar? Because his victories don't fit the Western narrative? Or was he simply too great to be acknowledged? One fact remains: no other general in history had a record like Khalid ibn al-Walid. No losses, no equal, only victory. So, who do you think deserves the top spot? Did we get it right, or is there a forgotten legend we missed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're passionate about history that challenges what you think you know, don't forget to subscribe to The Great Chronicles. We've got more mind-blowing stories coming your way.